Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about something Raptor talked about in the Wizard101 PvP server or whatnot, the official Discord of Wizard101. Now keep in mind this is almost like a leak, so take it with like a grain of salt. It's not set in stone, concrete, it's subject to change. However, I want to say before I even get into the video here, I apologize for the lack of uploads the past week or so. Guys, I've had a lot of crap going on in my life right now, and I want to say Merry Christmas. It's a day late as of me recording this video and when it's going to be posted, but I just want to say Merry Christmas to y'all who celebrate it, happy holidays, and I appreciate all of you very much. And yeah, I just had a lot going on in my life, and I'll get back to normal schedule probably within the coming days after this new video comes out. So I just wanted to talk about that for the channel real quick here. But yeah, without further ado, I'll put the screenshot up on screen, and well, let's just go ahead and talk about it. So what Mr. Ratman is saying here, I don't know if that sounded rude or not, I don't really care. We're currently exploring lowering the stat maxes for low damage per pip schools to end cosplaying. We recognize that approach does not incentivize high DPP schools, damage per pip, into lower, only that it solves one problem from the low end. So essentially, the stat maxes are like your health, your damage, your pierce, that kind of thing. You can only get a certain amount of that stat. So what I'm interested in here is how they're gonna nerf cosplaying without actually touching the, well, normal stat maxes. For example, we know what Dorm is, right? We all know what Dorm is. So if they're gonna nerf Dorm by nerfing the damage and pierce, they, to my knowledge, would have to nerf death, damage, and pierce along with that. Now, they could find a way to make it so the other schools, like Storm on a death, is like, 10 damage, 10 pierce lower than the death base on that school. They could do that, and that might be a solution they're looking into. But I feel like he would have made that very specific here, which he didn't. They just said the stat maxes were going down for low DPP schools. So I'm really hoping that this is gonna affect both Dorm and regular death, because right now the mitigating schools or the defensive ones, again, are just still the best in the meta right now. And there's a bunch of reasons for that, library, stats, etc. A lot of things, right? In the second half of the message, he says it only solves one problem. So essentially, they might fix cosplaying in the meta, but Storm and Fire still aren't going to be able to, well, dual school that well, essentially, is what he's saying here. And the reason, in case you don't know, if you're sleeping under a rock, that Storm and Fire cannot dual school like other schools is because they already have objectively worse stats. But then the one thing they're supposed to have, which is their DPP, gets thrown out the window when they use lower DPP cards, right? So you have bad stats and bad DPP cards on a bad stat school, or worse stat school. So you're simply just asking to lose at that point. Now, are there some anomalies like Banshee, Vampire, maybe Centaur, maybe Minotaur, maybe Quake? Yeah, it's not bad at all, but you can't really rely on those things to, carry you and do a lot, is what I'm saying, as opposed to like a Dorm or a Lorm. They can completely drop their original school identity and just dual school with Storm or Fire and be better than a Storm and Fire. That's what this change is going to affect. And like I said at the start of the video, I actually DM'd Raptor about this, for some clarification for the video, and he said that, basically things are subject to change. So yeah, I do think this will be a good change. I'm curious to see what else they are hooking up, because obviously cosplaying is a problem, but there's a lot of other things in the game that are issues. Like obviously the base stats in general are a bit problematic as well. Like I said, if you look at accuracy, right, Storm and Fire struggle to even get accuracy in general, so they can't be incentivized to dual school because you can't even get accuracy for one school. So that will, you know, indirectly lower their win rate because they can counter less as opposed to the other schools can, right? And with the current King style game design philosophy of everybody does the same damage, a bunch of little things like that is just gonna make Storm and Fire really bad. Because it's kind of silly to just punish Storm and Fire for, you know, wanting to hit and take equal trades. If you guys are curious what I'm talking about when I say that, check out my combat model video from, I think, about a week ago. There's a bunch of proof and stuff in there and explains what that's about in terms of like the trades and the stats and why they don't work right now in the current meta. It just doesn't make sense to punish Storm and Fire for hitting with accuracy and whatnot when other schools aren't punished equally, because at the end of the day, if we're all doing the same damage to each other proportionally, why is the punishment not equal? You know, if Storm and Fire are going to do way more damage than every other school, it would make sense to have that accuracy burden, but that gap is not anywhere near big enough as it needs to be, is what I'm saying. So King style could either standardize the accuracy or make the burden equal, or they could simply make Storm and Fire do a lot more damage, which, to my knowledge here, he said nothing actually about lowering the stat maxes for high DPP schools. So what we might see here is just like a direct damage nerf with, like, you know, damage stat, pierce stat on low DPP defensive schools, but they might just leave it the way it is for like Storm and Fire, or maybe even Myth, who knows, for example. There's also been rumors going around the community saying that they might just standardize DPP. So for example, if I'm on a Storm and I cast Centaur, that Centaur would actually be Storm damage per pip, but the damage of the Centaur would be my life stats. So for example, you know, if I have a Triton and then I have a Centaur, right? The Centaur would be like Triton DPP essentially, right? And still do the utility of the Centaur, like remove 4 traps. But my stats obviously would have to go into account for that, my life damage. So I think that would be something really neat, and I'm looking forward to see if that is something they do. Obviously, I feel like that would be a lot of work, you know, to design and put into the game. However, I'm not a designer, so I don't really know anything what the workload would be like. But personally, you know, to keep things simple, I'd like to see them just nerf the stat maxes for defensive schools, leave it high for Fire and Storm, and, you know, go from there. That's what I like to see. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. How do you think they should go about fixing cosplaying and incentivizing high DPP schools to go into low DPP schools? Really interested to read that down there in the comments below. Like I said, I would say just nerf the stat maxes, lower the damage on low DPP schools. You could do that, or you could simply lift the accuracy burden and make it equal for every school, which again, probably would be a lot of work. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, leave a like and a sub, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and as always, take care, y'all.